Well, hello YouTube, it's me, Fortmaster, and welcome back to another cammyboiG reaction, and, well, I know it's been a while since I've done a reaction to one of his things. I'm sorry, and I know this video actually came out a month ago, but, you know, with it being such a long video, it was kind of hard trying to find the free time in order to, watch the thing in one sitting, but, finally we are here. Thank you. But, speaking of the video, judging dead Deltarune theories with Snarlinger, which, also, now that I'm thinking about it, I have not watched anything from Snarlinger in a while. Has he put out anything new since the one video I watched of his? No, actually. The names, endings, and prophecy video was seemingly the last thing he's put out. Though, I mean, the fact that he's with cammyboiG means, at least he's still active, thank God. But yeah, it's over 2 hours long, almost 2.5. So, God, so yeah, thinking about it, all the different theories that have died over the course of Deltarune's life, and all the ones that I inevitably think are going to die in the future. Especially since I watched that video that kind of went on a history of like what the fandom was like during when it was only chapter 1. And just, again, how things have changed, how our understanding of the game has changed. God, I just a little while ago, I watched a video talking about saying how, Mike is friend. And I really have to wonder, like, what theories will be killed with chapter 5 being released. Oh, God. It is certainly going to be a trip, isn't it? But yeah, if you weren't able to tell, this reaction is going to be cut up into multiple pieces depending on whether it's 2 or 3 will very much depend on how long my final, raw video is. But just so you know, people watching them on the days these are released, they will be released on subsequent days, so it'll be part 1, then part 2 on the next day, and so on and so forth. And when those other parts are eventually released, you will be able to find them in the description of this video and in the descriptions of the subsequent videos as well. But yeah, with all that out of the way, let's actually get this thing started. So yeah, of course, as always, original video is linked in the description if you haven't seen it yet for some reason. Corner video will lead to my Let's Play of the day. And if you like this video or any other video that I make, I'd very much appreciate it if you gave the video a like and subscribe to my channel, because almost 3/4 of the people that watch my videos aren't subscribed, and I'd very much like that to change. But yeah, with all that out of the way, let's get this thing started then, shall we?
Sure sucks being dead, huh, buddy?
Why do we have to die?
You killed me!
I am the god of Deltarune!
What is he doing here? It said this was only going to be Snarlinger. What's Mystic doing here?
Who is that?
I think Shay? I don't know.
Yeah, sure, totally. Anyways, I have a job for you boys.
A job?
I love working!
Good. For when the new chapters released, many fresh souls came flowing down this river. These souls, judgment rings for them. Do you understand what I'm saying, boys?
So, the title of the video?
Yeah.
Judging dead Deltarune theories.
Awesome. Awesome!
Okay, stop barking. You're
And Snarlinger, you're a raccoon. Raccoons don't bark. They make their own noises.
honestly making it really weird. Also, the person with the best judgments will win, like, I don't know, a free iPod Nano or something. Anyways, business slime out. Out.
Oh, that was Mystic Slime. Oh.
I'm gonna win. I want iPod.
What's up, you
Honestly,
little
better
freaks?
than most of the what you can
once
get
again
nowadays.
With my lifelong enemy Snarlinger. Say hi, buddy.
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Lovely. Just fantastic. I'm glad this is the first time we've tried recording this intro.
It's so normal to talk while being recorded, while being on YouTube.
I'm always saying this.
Yeah.
Anyways, today as...
Okay, so I'm having to wonder here. So obviously they're doing like the Discord thing where you have like the images that change when, you know, somebody's talking. How are they recording this right now? Did they just record them as is and then, you know, through, you know, video magic, they just put them into the boat and have them constantly moving up and down? Or is this whole thing like a setup where it's just automatic? now, and like, as somebody who doesn't know a lot about editing, like, I am honestly fascinated by how they might have done this.
You might have found out from our hilarious intro, we are passing judgment on dead Deltarune theories and sending them to either heaven or hell.
I like judgment.
So our first theory up is Elven Knight. A theory
Elven
that
Knight, yeah.
Elven Boom was in fact the Roaring Knight, mostly due to some cryptic shit he said by Gerson's grave at the end of Chapter 2.
That shit's fucked up.
So what's
what
your
do you
take on
think-
Elven?
I'll go first because I love
God,
talking.
you gotta love
I
non-scripted
need to say
content
something
like
up
this.
front in this video. I fucking hate all night theories. They bore me to fucking tears. Except one. One night theory makes me happy, and it's kind of obvious which one. But Elven Knight, dude, my experience with Elven Knight is being in the Deltarune fandom before chapters 3 and 4, and there was a period of time when every fucking video that anyone ever made on Deltarune was about how Alvin was secretly the knight. And it's like, I don't need to know this thing that I already know multiple times. I watched Jaru's video on all the knight candidates. That's all I needed. That's all I fucking needed. He talked about every single one. For some reason, people kept making night videos. So that's kind of my opinion.
I mean, that's the whole thing. Everybody wants to get their, 2 cents in on the topic. And unless you have multiple people in one place at one time making a video together, there's no real way of, like, collaborating through multiple videos on YouTube. Like, if you think, like, way, way back in the day at the beginning of YouTube, they had the whole thing on YouTube where you could submit, like, response videos, and they'd show up in their own little section beneath the video itself. And you could see, like, oh, there's this video, and then you had the little section of people who sent, like, response videos to that video specifically, which could be really cool. But the thing was, it was, abused in its time, and I can see why it was removed. But at the same time, since there's, like, no form of doing that nowadays, it's like, if you want somebody to, if you want to, like, add your 2 cents into a topic on YouTube, you pretty much just have to add your own video. And the whole thing is, there's, especially, before chapters 3 and 4 came along, there were only so many light world characters in the game. So before we got an actual look at what the Roaring Knight actually looks like, and that narrowed down the possible knight candidates severely, any light worlder who was, suspicious enough, was fair game, and especially talking about Alvin, the priest saying mysterious stuff at his father's grave.
I kind of disagree with you. I feel like my experience in the fandom has been like everyone desperately trying to explain why Alvin can't be the knight because no one wants. That's why I've put him on the tomato-covered stage in this image. Because despite how popular the notion was, no one wanted Alvin to be the knight because he's so boring.
I mean, that's not true, right? Some people did really want Alvin to be the knight. I know that Shadow of Roserade is like a huge, or at least was a huge Elven Knight defender. And
Shout out to Shadow of Roserade.
Shout out to Shadow of Roserade. I think that what you're talking about.
What was the last thing from them I watched? I haven't watched something from them in a while. Deltarune is a playground game. Huh. I might have to check some of these out. Okay.
Is the backlash to the Elven Knight discourse explosion, and I'm fine with that.
Okay, so you weren't a fan of this theory at all, and neither was I.
Okay, look, I actually sort of am a fan, but only to the extent that I'm a fan of any knight theory, which is like very little. I kind of like Elven Knight. I like the drama.
Were you just saying that you hate every knight theory?
You're being a little indecisive here.
But if I strip away that bias and I'm like, okay, let's think about this on its merits. I like the drama. I like the drama of this character who's just this random fucking NPC who doesn't even have a talk sprite is the villain of the game. That's kind of sick. I like that a lot. That's kind of fun.
That actually would be kind of... I hadn't considered that angle of it. Like the possibility that it could be intentional that a random NPC who's entirely missable could possibly be the main villain. That
I could definitely see that. Good writers have done that before, having the knight be having like the villain of the story be like somebody so like nondescript and sort of boring on the outside, but then there's a little trail of breadcrumbs dropped throughout the story that kind of like hint towards, oh, there's something more going on with them. Again, with the first one potentially being, the whole thing they were talking about, he was saying in front of the grave, and the idea that, somebody so boring and missable was actually the villain all along. I mean, yeah, there's the whole, there's the twist villains are a thing.
That's sort of a ballsy move.
And look, think of the themes of Deltarune, dude. All these discarded objects, people being thrown away. This NPC, who usually in any other game wouldn't have any importance, but he does. He's the knight, dude. He's fucking evil, and that's awesome. Also,
Or alternatively, things being discarded. In modern day, church numbers are, the lowest they've ever been in history. You could kind of put the whole thing there. It's like, oh, if people are, maybe like the fact that, people aren't coming to church as often as they, once were, that could be, driving Alvin, that could have driven Alvin a little insane. So it's like, oh, if people aren't going to church, I'm going to bring forth the apocalypse, something like that.
he's like a figurehead for the church, and so in some ways like associated with the prophecy, so it's like there's something there.
Snarlinger, you bullshit in a way that tickles my brain. I think you're right about that.
Yes. Feels good to be back, dude.
So do you think we're sending Alvin to heaven?
I mean, he's going to heaven anyway. Like, he is a good Christian boy.
Explicitly unchristian. Sin does not exist in the Deltarune religion.
Oh, wow. That makes it so
Right,
not
yeah.
Christian. Deltarune. That's just fucking crazy, dude. Oh, there's not
Everyone
sin.
knows that sin is the main component of Christianity.
It's the main thing, right? That's the only thing that matters in Christianity is sin.
Yes, because Christianity is the only religion on the planet that has any form of, sin or things or, otherwise things that, you shouldn't do that, are punishable.
Vote for heaven.
Okay.
Mostly because even though I did fucking hate seeing every video on Alvin Knight for like 3 weeks, I do acknowledge that it's sort of iconic and sort of beautiful and good.
I think that as someone who, on record, has found Alvin deeply, deeply boring, I think that rethinking about this theory in the context that he was boring on purpose, and that was the whole point,
Yeah.
I think that's actually very fun. I
it
think
definitely does
Alvin
work.
Knight goes to heaven.
Yes. Huh? What's that theory floating on the river in front of us? Is that Papyrus Knight? Huh.
Papyrus Knight.
Papyrus Knight?
Boy.
Why is Papyrus Knight here?
Yeah, you're right.
I
Papyrus
don't know.
Knight.
Maybe I'm like a little too sympathetic towards this cause, but I feel like Papyrus Knight isn't completely out of the question
You're
yet.
fucked up, dude.
Yeah, but I guess, the whole skeletal nature of the knight kind of does lend some credence towards Papyrus Knight, but again, antlers. Unless Papyrus in this universe had some major plastic surgery going on, I don't see, that, really being the case.
Fucked up.
I mean, look at that. The knight's literally like it's papyrus shaped.
It's Papyrus
It
Knight.
has shoulder pads and like a rib cage. It looks like a skeleton just with deer horns.
Other people wear shoulder pads, and also like most things have skeletons.
Name one person who wears shoulder pads.
I do. Okay, when I'm feeling a little bit frisky at the club, I put on those pads, dude.
Okay, fair enough. You're right. Papyrus Knight is dead.
Let me explain to you guys what Papyrus Knight even is.
Ooh.
Papyrus is the main evidence, you're asking? Well, it's because Papyrus is in his house and doesn't come out.
Yeah.
True.
We have not seen Papyrus at all, and I know there are still a lot of people really angry at that. And the idea and the potential idea that Papyrus never leaves the house the entire game, and he just continually teased like that. Like, oh, I can imagine some people being so angry.
True.
Yeah. Oh, and also,
Was there any popular evidence besides that?
No,
Like,
actually.
was it just like looking for a space
No.
for Papyrus and Deltarune?
No.
I think that's a big part of it, is like, what the fuck is up with him? Why isn't he around? But actually, I'm remembering possibly a bigger piece of evidence. So, like, apparently people care about Papyrus, like, very deeply as a character. I kind of don't. Like, he's very funny, and, like, I enjoy him in Undertale. I like calling him in every room, right? But apparently Papyrus in Undertale is very lonely, and like he goes on the internet a lot and like doesn't really interact with the world. And I think
True.
he's like struggled to make friends or something. So what if Papyrus is in his house and sometimes he leaves it to make dark fountains because he's lonely and wants friends and like wants to escape into the world? Because Deltarune is all about
Yes.
escapism, and that's the only thing Deltarune is about. And so that's what Papyrus is doing in the game.
Yeah, the only
I think there's
thing,
room
yeah.
for Papyrus to have an interesting place in this story, but he never really made much sense as a knight candidate to me.
Neither. Yes, neither. And it does feel like I've highlighted disbelief Papyrus in this image because it does feel like very edgy papyrus. Like,
Yeah, of course that. Yeah, of course they use the whole like the papyrus that's that's like getting revenge for a fallen Sans in a genocide, or I forget what the actual name for that Sans. I'm forgetting what the actual name for this AU papyrus is. Forgive me.
Like if Papyrus showed up in like a jacket and like was like crying in one eye and like the thing in the other eye, I would be upset and I would refund the game.
He would never fucking do that.
He would never fucking cry. Okay, he doesn't even have tear ducts. He's literally a skeleton.
So my view on Papyrus Night is that I never bought it, and it was an annoyance to me to tack it on to any night discussion.
Yeah.
Like discussing like, all right, so the candidates are like Chris, Alvin, Des, the mayor, and I guess Papyrus, like it was.
I mean, granted, nobody has ever, like, who's to say that the actual night wasn't Sans all along? I mean, everybody's so focused on Papyrus. Like, who's to say that it wasn't Sans that, was actually the one doing it all along? And the whole reason why he's so apathetic in Undertale is because he was the villain of Deltarune, and he was beaten already. So now he just kind of sits there being, oh, I can't do anything. Nothing really matters. It's something like that.
He was never like in the forefront of my mind. And I think for that reason, Papyrus does deserve eternal damnation.
Wow, dude.
That line taken out of context so badly.
I mean, I agree. It's sort of like a pity thing. It's like, yeah, I guess we can include Papyrus, whatever. Which sort of feels on brand for Papyrus as like a lonely guy, apparently.
Aw. I take issue with the fact that you don't care about Papyrus as a character. I think that's fucked up.
I care about him when he makes me laugh, but like people make character analysis videos about Papyrus and they're like, Papyrus is really sad. And it was fucked up that Undyne didn't, like, say sorry to Papyrus for lying. It's like, I don't care. I don't fucking care. Papyrus is just like a little child.
I just want to say, Dorked, if you're watching, I love you. I don't stand for this.
Look, nothing against Dorked. I just don't give a shit about Papyrus. Like, I don't care that much. Yeah, but that won't be the only time that I slander a Deltarune YouTuber in this video. So watch the fuck out.
I feel like that opinion might throw a wrench into our friendship from here on out, but for now, I think I can agree that we send Papyrus to hell.
See, I didn't think we were friends. I thought we were more like friends to lovers sort of situation.
We were more like, I actually thought it was...
What kind of logic is that? You have to be the friends to lovers, you have to start out as friends. I mean, it's in the name.
It was more of like a content collaborator relationship and nothing more.
Is that all you see me as?
Yeah. Papyrus, go to hell.
Yeah, kill him.
Next up is Oberon Smog, which is Jaru Jaru J's theory, link in the description, that the knight was in fact not Gerson, but a reanimated Gerson, made of Gerson's hammer with Gerson's dust on it, and is the same type of being as Ralse is in his compendium of theories. Which is why Oberon Smog is an anagram of Gerson Boom, as Ralse is an anagram of Azrael.
The fuck?
Fuck you, you made a video about Jaru as your first video. This is the easiest heaven of my life, because it came true.
Yeah, dude.
A little bit. I mean, of course, Gerson isn't the knight, but Gerson did come back from the dead due to the Dark World, so yeah, it did partially come true. I will totally give them that.
The thing that was wrong about this theory is that he isn't the knight, but Gerson's hammer with Gerson's dust on it, revived as a Darkner, literally exists in the game. Jaru won.
He fucking won!
Ah!
So yeah, Jaru is God, and like Jaru is like one of the best like people, like one of the best guys. And I do appreciate this theory because it's very iconic. It's just like so dramatic. Like it's dramatic. It's like peak Jaru drama. And yeah, you're right. He fucking won.
Drama.
And all these people in the fucking lore pit being like, oh, what dustners? What's that? Oh, that's a silly, stupid idea. Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys, Jaru wins.
That's right, we're taking a definitive stance for Jaru and against the ACDS Discord server.
Fuck Andrew Cunningham. Fuck Andrew Cunningham Discord server. Destroy it, raise it all to the fucking ground.
The day Andrew Cunningham released his new theory, I watched it 4 times.
Damn, dude. It's a good video.
It is.
Fucking
The scripts are so dense.
Oh my god, they're so...
Honestly, I cannot wait for his next full-on theory. Specifically, like, I hope he does, like, a sequel to his leitmotifs video, because obviously there's so much more music that came out with chapters 3 and 4, and like, honestly, somebody like me who has a real hard time connecting the dots on that sort of stuff, I definitely need someone to point me out. It's like, hey, are there any like weird hidden like motifs in the new music that, you know, I hadn't noticed? Because, I mean, granted, something I only just noticed recently from another reaction was the fact that basically all of Spamton's songs and music that he uses are all like knockoffs of other songs. And it kind of like, which I mean, on the one hand, kind of like, oh, there's nothing original to Spamton. But on the other hand, yeah, wait, Spamton's broke and like and has like the whole, you know, shtick of being a sleazy salesman. Of course, nothing of him would ever be original. That makes perfect sense.
And like they're so efficient, and he's just so entertaining. Do you want to hear my Andrew Cunningham impression?
Yeah.
Deploy the diagram. No, actually.
All right, here's my Andrew Cunningham impression.
Sure.
So, as you can see from the last 20 minutes, I've determined that nothing is true.
Okay, honestly, okay, cammyboiG, pretty good impression. Snarlinger, were you having a stroke? What was that?
Oberon Smog, it's fucking perfect. And what else is there to say? It's perfect.
I agree. I think Oberon Smog is an easy heaven.
Go forth, my boy.
Next up, coming down the river Styx, is chess theory.
Ooh.
Chess
Oh
theory
God,
was
chess
basically
theory.
the idea that...
Oh, right, no, I was gonna say who made this picture, but then I realized, cammyboiG makes all of these pictures. the caster in the background.
Each of the main antagonists in the game would represent a chess piece in descending order of value. So King was the first boss, then Queen came next, then Chapter 3 would feature Rook, Chapter 4 would feature Bishop, and then Chapter 5 would feature the Knight. Chapter 6 and 7 would feature some sort of like pawn, and then like there were different theories over whether the last thing would be like the player, or the board, or the Grandmaster, but it doesn't matter because it was bullshit.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not real. And you know what's crazy is people are still arguing for it because they're like, well, I would argue that the Titan in Chapter 4 is the Bishop because it was in the church. I was like, yeah, but King and Queen were named King and Queen.
Queen, yeah.
Fair. Look, I get it. I feel like it's not bullshit, though. I feel like...
I mean, I will admit, I was a bit... I bought into... originally, when I first heard it, I didn't quite buy into it. But just after Chapters 3 and 4 came out, I did buy into it really hard because I saw, like, a doctored screenshot somebody made of a piece of dialogue that, like, Tenna said during his flight, and it's like, joke's on you, my middle name is Rook, or something like that, if I remember correctly. And, like, I legitimately believed that for a little bit until I was pointed towards, you know, something confirming that was false. But, oh god, if Toby actually did do something like that, just like have like a 1 in 1,000 chance of having that one really random dialogue for Tenna to say, like, God, so many people would explode.
There's still like an essence of truth to chess theory. Like King and Queen, that feels chessy, I think. It's also just, I mean, like Deltarune is obsessed with like big, awful, like domineering, like rulers in general. So like having a king and a queen, leaders of like a monarchy, it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that also doesn't really lend itself to chess theory.
Look at the Knight.
Because then...
Look at the Knight. Because there's probably two... Like, Chris is also sort of... I think, like, Chris is literally knighted. So I think there's something there.
But there's still...
I'd classify Chris more as a squire than a knight. Really?
No Rook and no Bishop.
Sure. Yeah. I don't fucking know. I agree. Yeah, I mean, look, chess theory was made by Aussie Flowerwall. Shout out to Aussie Flowerwall.
Shout out to that person.
It is a great theory, but you're right, it was wrong. I guess it was just wrong. And I'm kind of glad that it's wrong because it would be so boring. Like, if we got to Chapter 3 and it was like, Mike Rook.
Yeah, the less predictable the game, the better.
I agree. I like that Deltarune is fucking weird now. It's fucking strange, and that makes me exceedingly happy.
Completely unpredictable. We don't know what future antagonists are going to be. We don't know what future secret bosses are going to be. It's the Wild West out there.
We don't even know if we're going to get a fucking spin cake. Fucking Top Chef. Holy fucking shit.
That's infuriating, man. What the fuck is Top Chef even doing? What does he do?
He should fucking die.
Chess theory, because
I wouldn't go that far.
Forcing the game into a predictable path, I think it goes to hell. It is much better now that the game is unpredictable.
Shit. I disagree, dude. I think
I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, just because you know a story is going to go a certain way doesn't make it any less enjoyable. I mean, like, again, like, how many people suggested or theorized that, in Chapter 3, the Weird Root was going to include, like, doing something with Toriel or something, because we thought, you did something with Noelle in Chapter 2, and Toriel was going to be there in Chapter 3, so let's continue on with her. And, like, the chapter, if that had actually been the case, Chapter 3, I don't think would have been any less enjoyable. It would have been just, seeing what you do with Toriel. Actually, like, spending time spending time in the game with her. Seeing how she reacts to the weird nonsense that is, the Dark Worlds and stuff like that.
It goes to heaven. And you know why? Because it's fucking iconic.
It is like, I don't think that determines whether or not something goes to hell. Do you think that,
Yeah, I mean, well, Hitler was iconic. Not in a good way, though. No, and no, I am not comparing chess theory to Hitler. That was just the first example of that I thought of.
Elon Musk is going to heaven?
What?
He's iconic.
Elon Musk is... You believe that Elon Musk is iconic. That's your belief.
I guess I
not
just
in a good way.
To think of the most famous person I could, and he came to mind. I think the game is better off for chess theory being dead, and that's why I think it goes to hell.
I think that it's not about the destination, Cammy. It's about the journey. And the journey of chess theory was beautiful.
The journey of chess theory was people trying for like 3 years to figure out how Tenna's name could actually work. To hell with chess theory.
No, it's sinking into this ocean. Whoa, what's that? Huh, that looks like gas leak theory.
Does it?
Gas leak theory?
What
What?
the fuck is this thumbnail?
So this is a reference.
I fucking love references.
It's a reference to Pythia, who was the Oracle of Delphi in Greece or something. And the whole thing about the Oracle of Delphi is that you go there and she's like, this will happen. I'm clairvoyant. But there's a theory that actually, like, she was just fucking high off of a gas leak in the ground, dude, in the cave that she was in.
Okay.
Well, I hope the audience that made it through that enjoyed their Greek history lesson.
I know so much about Greek history. Ask me anything.
But the actual gas leak theory of the game Deltarune was essentially that...
Let me explain
Chris,
it.
when
It's
they
my
stabbed-
theory. So basically, gas leak theory is all about that... What was it? Oh yeah, so it's about Chris. What if at the end of chapter 2...
Not only do you not know what your thumbnail is, you don't know what the theory is?
I just...
Please explain! I've never heard of this!
For the past 20 minutes, I'm trying to get my bearings. So basically, what if at the end of chapter 2, Chris, when they made a supposed dark fountain, it was actually a gas leak from the ground. And that's because chapter 1's ending was a red herring, because Chris just ate the pie. So what if Chris didn't even make a dark fountain, they actually just fucking hit a fucking gas line and they're all gonna die of gas poisoning?
I think did anyone actually believe this theory is my question.
I mean, given that this is literally the first time I've heard of this theory in literally any way, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it wasn't that widespread. So, if this gets anything other than straight to hell, I'm going to be very disappointed in you two.
Was it just a joke?
I think I believed in it for like a few days. I was like, yeah, that's right.
Really?
I think.
The infamous gas that gives your TV a mouth.
Yeah, they were hallucinations, dude.
I think this theory goes to hell, because I think if anyone genuinely believed in this theory, I immediately respect them less.
Right. Yeah, look, I kind of agree. It's kind of stupid. It's sort of,
All right.
There it goes. Wait, Cammy, look over the horizon. Do you see that? It's obviously the theory that... What?
I don't see it.
Oh, there it comes.
Are you hallucinating? Is there a gas leak?
Oh!
So what is this theory? And what the fuck is this thumbnail?
So this theory is obviously the theory that every chapter in Deltarune represents a different form of escapism. Chapter 1 being video games, Chapter 2 being video games, Chapter 3 being video games, and Chapter 4 being video games.
What? Well, okay, so different forms of escapism. I think I have heard that theory before, where, first chapter was through board games, Chapter 2 was through, was through video games, again, through... Chapter 3 was through, TV and stuff like that. Chapter 4... though it kind of breaks down at chapter 4, because, I mean, well, I know people can get solace and from like religion and stuff like that when it comes to like unpredictable times. Can you really classify religion as escapism? Because like with like all the other things, you're kind of ignoring the problem or just kind of forgetting it's there or just getting distracted for a while. With religion, it's not so much that you're forgetting a problem is happening. It's more like you're putting your faith in like a higher power that's going to help fix it? Would you classify that as escapism? I mean, I could see this one going to heaven. Just for that, it did seem very plausible.
And so this was a theory that kind of came about when everyone in the Deltarune community decided that escapism was the only theme that Deltarune was kind of about. Like that was the only thing that it was talking about. And so this was just kind of a thing for years. And now it's not true because chapter 4.
I think this opinion of yours is born of vitriol and you're misrepresenting the fandom. I don't think anyone was ever saying escapism was the sole theme of Deltarune, you fucking cretin.
I think for 6 years that's basically all we said.
This is fighting words.
It was all we said in the community was, oh, Gaster has an evil magic plan, and it's to get us to want to escape into his world. And that's fucked up. And what could he have in store?
So you resent the concept of the theme escapism because the discussion around the game's themes revolved around it too much. Is that what I'm
that's
hearing?
why I resent it. It felt, for a while, it felt really reductive. It just felt really boring. And so I'm kind of glad that Chapter 4 sort of just kind of broke this theory and that Deltarune is actually about other things too. Like, it is about escapism, sure, but it's also about many other things, and those things I find much more interesting. So I'm glad that we're talking about them more now and not just talking about escapism.
That's fair. I mean, I can't help but be a little hurt because my first video was centered so heavily around escapism.
Was it?
Yes.
That makes sense. Well, look, we'll get to your video later, buddy. I have some evil fucking things to say about your stupid fucking channel.
And to be clear, the actual theory here that is not represented by the thumbnail is that Chapter 1 was tabletop games, Chapter 2 was internet, Chapter 3 was TV, and then Chapter 4 would somehow also be connected to escapism. And that pattern did continue with Chapter 3, but Chapter 4 really, you could sort of, I think if
religion kind of...
you could say that religion is a form of escapism in a way, but it's still, I think it...
Yeah, I mean, it's like, as I said, it kind of works in a certain point of view, but it's not as cut and dry as the previous 3 chapters, so it kind of causes the whole thing to kind of fall apart and putter out and die.
That is sort of disrespectful.
Isn't it, like, deeply offensive to say that, oh, religion, yeah, it's just kind of all about escapism. Like, that's all it is. Also, what the fuck is escapism via TV? Like, what does that mean? Like, I don't escape into TV.
What? What do you think escapism means?
I don't know.
I mean, escapism is just, I mean, for lack of a better word, is just, forgetting your problems. TV shows, game shows, dramas, cartoons, all that sort of stuff that to distract you.
Don't know what it means.
I mean, I don't want to sound stupid, so I'll look up the definition, but like...
I thought that escapism was the wanting to escape a place, like wanting to like run away.
No. No, not escapism isn't about physically escaping a location.
I was like, how do you escape into a TV? That's stupid.
How do you escape into board games or the internet? Honestly, like, I remember really liking Snarlinger's video, the one I did a reaction to. But honestly, the more I watch of cammyboiG's videos with, Snarlinger in it, the more I'm convinced that Snarlinger is actually really stupid.
Stupid. Okay, this makes so much more sense now. I actually love this.
Are you being serious? Escapism is mental diversion from unpleasant aspects of daily life, typically through activities involving imagination or entertainment.
Oh, duh. Yeah, okay. This is awesome.
Are you being serious? Are you fucking with me right now?
I'll take that. I'll take that answer to my grave, dude. You'll never fucking know.
Well, so what do we think? Heaven or hell for escapism? We've been talking about this for too long.
I think that now that I know that it's sort of awesome and like kind of like it's not escaping into TV, I think this is actually an awesome theory. I think that that's maybe what Deltarune is all about is kind of like escapism. And it's kind of all about escapism, and that's kind of part
I
of
can't
Caster's
help
magic
but
flair.
feel that I'm being mocked.
Send it to heaven. Watch it go.
Send it
Watch
to
it
heaven.
fly.
Escapism, go to heaven.
Oh, look.
All right, what's that next one?
Oh, I see it. It's Jockington at a party.
Wow.
So this is the theory that in each chapter of Deltarune, we would get like a different party member. So in chapter 3, we could get Toriel and maybe Undyne or maybe Napsterbook. And then in chapter 4, maybe we would get Jockington and Caddy or maybe Alvin or something. And
God, yeah, again, this kind of goes into the whole thing. It's like, oh, every chapter would have a different weird route. But God, if anything, like, this is the one theory that, like, oh, like, every chapter is going to be the same. Like, I really do miss this being, you know, having potential, because I loved the idea, like, I just loved the idea that we'd get to see a more one-on-one sort of view of, like, how people viewed Chris, where it's like, oh, in chapter 2, we had Noelle, and we got the backstory that they used to be, like, childhood friends, and got to see how, like, she interacted, and how she, like, thought about all of this. But and like, oh, and the idea that, oh, in chapter 3 we'd get to do the same with Toriel, like, oh, that'd be fun, but again, nothing.
And the evidence for this was nothing. It was just like, what if the same thing happened in chapters 3 and 4?
I never really bought this theory. I think that a lot of people failed to consider that adding additional party members every chapter would sort of exponentially increase the workload, because not only do you need to program like a new party member with new sprites and new acts and everything, but also the fact that every item in the game has like a piece of flavor text depending on what party member you give it to. So every time you add a new party member, not only are you adding the work of a party member onto the game, but also you have like a billion new pieces of flavor text to write for every item that has existed in the game so far. I feel like it was sort of unrealistic to expect this. That being said, I get why people are so disappointed that it didn't come true, because I mean, just
it would have been
objectively,
fun.
I think it would be sick to have Toriel on your party. I think it's cool. I
sort of don't agree about the exponential. I mean, obviously it would be a lot of effort to do that, but I mean, like, you look at chapter 3 and chapter 4, there's like all this weird little shit that was added. Like chapter 3 in particular, like, has a whole game within a game thing going on. Like that in itself is like an insane.
I won't deny that it's like an extremely Toby thing to do, to give yourself like 500 extra pieces of flavor text to write. You know,
and I mean, there's, you know, it's not. And, like, as we saw with, you know, the whole, like, teas thing, you know, if you go to chapter 3, all the teas become rotten tea. So, I mean, there would have been nothing stopping Toby from just saying, like, oh, after a certain amount of time, if you still have some of these really early game items, they just go bad or just disappear.
Funny flavor text is Undertale and Deltarune's bread and butter.
That's true, actually. But I see your point. Like, it would be a lot of work. I see it more from like a mechanical point of view. Like, particularly like now that we're in like chapter 5 territory. If Deltarune introduced a new party member in chapter 5, it would sort of feel very thin on like a mechanical level, because it's like, particularly with like Chris, Susie, and Rouse, we've had a lot of time to kind of like build those characters, like optimize their builds, give them the best like armor and weapons and shit. I feel like we've grown attached to those party members. So if they introduce like fucking, I don't know, like Jockington in chapter 5, it's like he's going to be around for like maybe like one chapter and then disappear. So it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, and in that same vein, adding a new party member every chapter would make it so you're continuing to focus on these side stories, you know, like with Birdley in chapter 2. You know, I think a popular version of this theory was that like every chapter you'd bring a new character in and they'd have their own little character arc that chapter.
Yeah.
So instead, with
that's what I thought was going to happen.
Ralsei and Susie and Chris have gotten in this story.
And then alternatively, you also had my version where, you know, the other party member would be where, you know, the weird route becomes involved, because again, the weird route in chapter 2 was with Noelle. So the idea that, oh, you know, the weird route in chapter 3 was going to be with Toriel, and then, you know, it kind of goes on from there. And that whole thing with Toriel, I mean, that's kind of what spurred on my whole little personal theory that there were going to be multiple different weird routes, because you could do, with a character like Toriel, you know, the overprotective mother, you know, you can kind of take that, you know, that whole thing, like, in multiple different ways, like, where you have, like, oh, one weird route is where, you know, being the overprotective mother, she protects Chris from everything, and you just run away from literally every encounter, thus somehow breaking the game before, you know, the themes that we've been kind of seeing with with Noelle kind of, came to full fruition, or you just have, Toriel being, the one with fire magic destroy and burn everything.
I think the game is much better off for not having to focus on a billion characters,
I feel that.
I think the way Ralsei and Susie develop in chapter 3 and 4 is
they are
compelling,
definitely very good.
As much focus if there were more characters to focus on.
Yeah, I agree, particularly in chapter 4. Like, I think if chapter 4 had Jockington, it would have been such a different vibe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, it would have been very fun, but it wouldn't have been as somber.
Gerson training Jockington arc.
Oh my god, what a fucking horrifying.
That'd be
also
awesome.
Something you said earlier, like particularly in chapter 3, Toriel just kind of being asleep the whole time is sort of like underwhelming. It's like, wouldn't it have been really...
It is anticlimactic.
It is.
Very much so,
wouldn't
yeah.
it have been really cool to understand better Toriel's relationship with Chris, to see Toriel's reaction to Rousey, and to see like Toriel kind of interact with Susie, and to see how Chris feels about that? Because it kind of feels like, I don't know if you get this vibe from Toriel, but it kind of feels like Toriel appreciates Susie more than she appreciates Chris. Like,
I think I literally gave you that idea.
Maybe.
When we were talking another time off camera, I think I made that point to you.
So actually it's my opinion. Yeah, so I don't know, that would have been cool.
But no, I get what you mean. Personally, I think I try to judge a game based on what it is more than what it isn't, I think
or what it could have
that
been.
amounts to writing a different game or a different movie or whatever piece of media you're criticizing often rings hollow for me. So I think it's valid to be disappointed that this didn't happen, but I don't think it's fair to think any lesser of the game that it didn't.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Like, it would have been cool to have more party members, but that was never what the game was going to be about, so we shouldn't try and shoehorn it in.
Totally. And look, Toriel being asleep for the whole chapter is sort of interesting in and of itself, like the whole thing of her having a nightmare when you defeat the knight, the Toriel variable in the code. Like, there's weird shit going on there, and so it does kind of it does add to the story.
I do want to admit that, like, even if she wasn't a party member, Toriel being awake in the Dark World, I think, would have made for a lot of fun storytelling opportunities.
Totally. I think I want to send this to heaven purely because it's just so fun. Particularly with, like the idea of Jockington being in the party. I want to know what the fuck that looks like. That's just so incredible.
Do you ever see those interpretations of, like, Jockington as Caddy's staff?
Yes, I love that so fucking much. I think that's so good. I want more Jockington.
All right, Jockington, go to heaven.
See a guy. Ooh, another theory on the border coming to us. Looks...
Snarlinger, what the fuck is this thumbnail? What theory could this possibly be?
In the sink. They're hungry. They finished the scraps. They finished the little food scraps that were left in the sink, and they want more.
I'm not giving you a pity laugh. What the fuck is this thumbnail?
So this thumbnail, this theory is so batshit that I honestly struggle to explain it. It's the theory that chapter 3, like the areas in chapter 3 would mirror the areas of, like, the kitchen. So, like, there'd be like a sink. I have
heard of this.
There's like the sink area, fridge area, and stuff. But also there's like another layer to it of like, okay, the areas in the kitchen also represent the areas from Undertale. So like the fridge is Snowden, the sink is Waterfall, and the microwave is the core.
And I guess the oven would be Hotland, right?
Yeah, that would be Hotland.
I mean, I think I've heard a version of this. Though, I mean, the one I heard was that, the Undertale-themed Dark World wouldn't appear until, like, chapter 6 or 7 or something like that. I never heard a theory where, the Undertale-themed Dark World would be so early as chapter 3.
I struggle with this theory. I always did. It always felt like there's a logic to it. It's like, okay, the Dark World will probably be based off the areas in the house, sure, and like maybe it would be an
which it never, which they weren't
but,
really.
Like, the story of it is like, who the fuck cares? Like, why would I?
That's what I was. Yeah. That's where I was headed. It's like, I kind of just don't care.
Right?
Yeah.
And honestly, if there is going to be like a substantial Undertale callback in a Dark World, I feel like it'd be more appropriate late game.
Yes. No, I agree. Or like in a weird route thing.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I feel like if a theory doesn't make me think about how cool it would be, it's sort of like not a very good theory, in my opinion. It doesn't satisfy.
No, I can definitely agree with that.
The inner beast.
The inner Mr. Beast.
The inner Mr. Beast. So I don't know what to say about this one. I stole this setup of tenors from a meme I found, so don't like praise me for this strange like But
I wasn't going to praise you for the thumbnail at all. Just so we're clear.
What? But it's really cool. So there's like 5 of them, and they're hungry.
They go to hell.
Bye-bye.
They all go to hell.
Next up is Last Thursdayism, which is essentially the idea that when a Dark World has a history, you go into the Dark World and they talk about how the Fountain appeared recently, and Queen wasn't this way until the Fountain appeared, and Spamton was a successful businessman in 1997 or whatever. Essentially, the Dark World's backstory is generated when the Dark World is generated, and there's no truth to it, which has pretty much been disproven by our pal Ramb.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Chapter 3 on the whole.
I mean, yeah, I can definitely... Yeah, this one was definitely ever good, because my whole understanding of it was always that, like, the history of, you know, the Dark World wasn't just made up. It was based on whatever happened with the, with the Darkener's real-life counterparts in the real world. So, like, a Queen, you know, who was a laptop, was all right until, you know, the internet went out. That's when she started going crazy and stuff like that. But, you know, in real life, she was just a laptop, and, you know, a laptop without internet connection is just sort of, you know, there. But, you know, when the laptop became Queen, that's when that was kind of extrapolated towards her, you know, going nuts. Then, you know, going back to Chapter 1, you know, like, the Darkeners, you know, they weren't sentient before, but they were all sort of like, they were all just, you know, toys and stuff that were in a classroom, but then the classroom was locked up and not used for a long time, and then that sort of history was sort of extrapolated upon when the Dark Fountain, you know, made them Darkeners.
Because so much of Chapter 3's narrative and characters are based around how long they've known Chris and how their lives are very relevant to the development.
Yeah, Chapter 3 basically proved my theory correct.
Would you say I covered all that about correctly?
My friend, that was perfect. And I agree.
Thank you.
I agree with your assessment that it's disproven.
Which also, I just realized, given that this is called Last Thursdayism, and the whole thing that, you know, the game actually starts on a Thursday, is, like, that's actually really funny.
You're really smart. Like, you're really smart and, like, interesting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think that obviously it's not true.
And to be honest, I was back when I wasn't a Deltarune theorist, I was a supporter of this theory simply because I just didn't want to think about it too hard.
What do you mean? Like it was too hard to think about?
Yeah, I was like, well, these guys just were made today, so like,
right.
Obviously the backstories aren't real, and I didn't think about it any more than that.
Yeah.
But when you think about the game critically, I don't think this was ever really a possibility.
Yeah,
No.
And like the alternative that we have now is sort of, to me, it's more interesting and more like mysterious.
Much more interesting.
Right? Like the idea that these objects retain memories in some way, that's, I don't know, there's just something kind of beautiful and strange about that. And it kind of reminds me of how, like, Asriel as a character is kind of like, he is located within memory and, like, often within objects. Like, Asriel is located within... And December, yeah. These characters are located within a guitar, a retainer, like a letter in Asriel's shirt pocket, a hot chocolate. These places and these objects retain some kind of, like, meaning, some kind of essence. And so it kind of feels... It slots in really nicely to, like, the other stuff that Deltarune is talking about.
Mm-hmm. And it, I think it sort of expands on some characters' motivations and backstories that seemed a little thin earlier on. Because, for example, now we know that King's hatred for Chris and Lightner isn't just sort of like a flat character trait. Like the fact that King and Queen used to be, imaginary characters of Chris and Noelle's, and so the feelings of betrayal that King exposits are I think they're a lot more substantial than they were at first, and make him more sympathetic.
Yeah.
So do you think Last Thursdayism goes to hell?
Look, it never caught me. Like, again, logically, there's something to it. On a story level, it's sort of just convoluted to me. It's like,
It's not, for me, it's not so much convoluted. It seems very just... hand-wavy, like, oh, we're not going to actually explain where, you know, the backstories of these characters came from. They just sort of exist when the characters come into existence. Like, again, they're very hand-wavy and sort of just, oh, we don't want to think about how this actually works. But, like, the idea that, you know, the real-world objects have, like, a memory, quote-unquote, of what's been done to them and how they've been used in real life, and that, quote-unquote, memory kind of informs on how they are in the dark world. Like it's much more interesting, and it makes a lot more sense.
Does that add to Deltarune? Is it interesting to think about? I mean, like, the idea...
No, I agree. Like,
Yeah.
why would it be interesting that all the Dark Rune's backstories are fake?
It actually, there is something sort of interesting about it, because Deltarune's all about memory, right? And something that Deltarune hasn't explored yet is the idea of a false memory. So the idea of all of these Darkners having false memories and having to come to terms with the fact that, oh god, my life has been a lie this whole time. That sort of makes sense.
I suppose that does actually, like, support Ralsei's whole view of Darkners not mattering and not being significant. If their entire existence is sort of manufactured just in service of Lightners.
Exactly.
Damn. You got a point. You got a point.
Yeah. But, like, Deltarune talks a lot about, like, personhood.
It's all about escapism.
It's all about
idiot.
escapism. I think that, like, Chapter 4 and, to an extent, Chapter 3 delve deeper into these themes like personhood and identity in Deltarune, like, particularly with Ralsei. And, like, one of the big definitions of personhood is that your identity is determined by the memories that you have. And so the idea of these Darkners not having any real memories kind of questions their personhood. Like, are they actually conscious people if they don't actually have real memories? So that's sort of interesting, but I don't know, it's just sort of convoluted and it bores me. So kill it.
Well, I can't believe we have this much to say about this theory. But now I'm thinking, like, I think this theory definitively being disproven actually works in the story's favor. Because obviously, you know, Ralsei's views on Darkners are written to be disagreed with, right? Like, you're supposed to respect Darkners' identities as people and not see them as just objects. So this theory being disproven with the new chapters, alongside Ralsei also coming to see himself as a person, I think is actually sort of thematically coherent.
But isn't it
it
something
works.
really interesting about the idea of these characters having these false memories and yet still being people and yet still being worthy of, like, love and, like, a life, right? Like, isn't that almost, like, more powerful?
And I think that is more compelling.
And that's last Thursday, isn't?
What I'm saying is, like, this is a good theory, actually, is what we're saying.
I guess we've talked ourselves
I think
into that
it sparked
position.
a lot of, like, kind of interesting thematic conversation.
Okay, look, I think, like, one of the merits of a good theory is that it causes you to think more about the game, and this is what this did. So
Last Thursday is you surprised me.
you surprised us. You did good, kid.
That'll do, pig.
What'd you call me?
Coming down the river, a new theory bequeaths us. Did I use the word bequeaths right there?
On
Chrysalis
Queef?
shadow
Yeah,
crystals.
that's the correct pronunciation.
Like like instead of on fleek, you're
Yeah.
on queef.
You're on Queef. I think that's pretty awesome and interesting. So yeah, let's use that from now on.
So this is the theory that shadow crystals exclusively show a world where Chris doesn't exist, which I think was supported by the fact that when Chris looks at their own hand through a shadow crystal, they don't see it. And Susie looks like she
Angry.
hasn't gone through character development when you look at her through a shadow crystal. She looks all pissed and mean. But we received pretty definitive proof that this isn't the case with the new chapters because of the shadow crystal dialogue in Noelle's house, right?
Yeah, there's like a dialogue where it's like Noelle is leaning close to Chris and whispering. So that indicates that through the lens of the shadow crystal, Chris is still there, I guess.
Yes. And here's my hot take. I don't think I ever really believed in this theory because I don't think the shadow crystals have ever been particularly consistent.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing at this point, the only thing that they've really been consistent about is just feeding into the whole other theory that, you know, at some point Chris is going to lose their hand. Which, I mean, I really have to wonder, like, how's that going to happen if it happens, and is that going to symbolize something? I honestly don't know.
Like, do you have, like, a solid idea of what the shadow crystals show?
Oh, no. I think I bought sort of hard into this one, or at least, like, it was a very compelling idea, but it doesn't seem to be true now, and now, yeah, I'm just kind of confused. I don't know what the shadow crystals are doing. Like, we know in retrospect now that the shadow crystal dialogue where you can't see Chris's hand in the crystal, that relates to the gumball machine dialogue where
Yeah.
Chris can't see their hand
Maybe
anymore.
Chris
Yeah.
losing their hand in the future.
Yeah, or in the past. I don't know.
Losing their hand in the past.
Yeah, maybe. Like, you have the imagery of Chris, like, washing their hands and unable to get, like, the grey streaks from between their fingers in the egg room dialogue.
Right.
I mean, I think there's a theory that, like, Chris
copies
is
are
in some way a
monochrome,
Gorner,
yeah.
or is, like, the vessel.
Yes.
And it's supported by dialogue in another egg room where there's the flying aces or something. It's like they didn't used to be colored, they were monochrome and then they were colored in. So, like, what if Chris was, in a sense, colored in, but they can't forget that they're grey, I guess. They're really upset that they're grey.
I mean, I did also have that old theory that, you know, the whole thing that Chris isn't actually human, but they're like a goner or a vessel that escaped Gaster's lab when we thought that Gaster's lab was in the bunker, and then, you know, Toriel and Asgore just kind of adopted them. But I mean,
And that's sort of Chris's whole thing, is that they're grey and they're upset about it.
That's pretty interesting. I never thought about it that way. I mean, probably because I'm so Ralsei Goner brained from my own theory. But that's a pretty cool way to look at it. I know you in one of your videos you sort of touch on the theory that the shelter is the equivalent of like a fairy fortress, was it? And that like perhaps Gaster kidnapped Chris and replaced them with a goner or something.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's... sure.
I don't remember that part. I'm going to have to rewatch the video.
I think this theory goes to hell just because, like, now that it's been disproven, nothing about the shadow crystals in my mind has even changed. It held no place in my mind, and the shadow crystals are just as mysterious as they were before. I have no love for this theory in my heart.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to theorize about the shadow crystals, and so any shadow crystal theory just kind of becomes, like, sort of mushy.
Yeah, any shadow crystal theory you have to, like, make exceptions for because they're just not consistent. I think this goes to hell.
Meow meow. I'm a little guy in this world. Meow meow. Meow meow. Meow 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 meow.
Surely you're doing this because you know I'm listening.
I didn't know.
What's that
Okay.
theory coming down the way? It's darker than...
I literally don't know.
Darker than
Worlds.
Dark Worlds. Oh,
This is an
right.
awesome theory, and I've represented it through this really helpful diagram.
God, why is it always FNAF? But yeah, the Darker than Dark Worlds. I think I remember I heard a version of this where like, there were like Neo Dark Worlds or something like this. And that was the whole thing where it's like, it was the whole idea of what happens when you create a Dark World in a Dark World before we knew that that's what creates a Titan.
And so this diagram represents the layers of reality that are at the heart of Deltarune.
So, to be clear, the theory that we're actually discussing here is the concept that, like, darker than dark worlds could exist, yeah?
Correct.
Like, the idea that you make a dark world in a dark world, and then it gets darker than dark.
Correct, which was disproven by Chapter 4, when the knight makes a dark fountain inside a dark world, and then it just kind of creates a big guy, and then nothing else happens.
Yeah.
And look, I feel like what I find interesting about this being disproven is that it does kind of feel like, I feel like there's like 3 different like flavors of the layers of reality theory out there. Like I feel like everyone has their take on it. And I feel like the whole idea of like a darker than dark world to me is like, there's 2 things. To me, it's sort of like the heart of that kind of theory. Like the idea that you can go deeper and deeper and it recurses and recurses. But also it kind of feels like, at least in like the fandom's conception of Deltarune, it feels like the heart of like Deltarune's horror. Like the idea that you can just go deeper and deeper and deeper into fantasy. And so now that we don't have that, and it just creates a Titan, I feel like that really displaces Deltarune's horror in like a big way. And I feel like,
Really?
to me, it kind of does. That was like a big thing that was
That's interesting.
sort of freaky about Deltarune's like, I guess, mythology or like world building. And
Honestly, the idea of just going deeper and deeper, I had never... I mean, I can definitely see the quote-unquote horror to that, like just getting deeper and deeper into fantasy and getting more and more disconnected from actual reality. But the loss of that, maybe just because I didn't have a big connection to it, but like the loss of that doesn't really seem that bad.
And so now that that's like just not true, Deltarune has to be scary in different ways, and it definitely it is successfully scary in different ways. Like you have Chapter 4 Weird Route, S rank rooms in Chapter 3, they're fucking freaky as hell. I just find that sort of interesting.
That is, I hadn't considered it in that light before. I think a lot of the the layers still do exist, right? Like, obviously, there's the layer of real life, and then perhaps, according to the device theory by Molly Stars, like the description, like a layer that Gaster is on that's between our world and the light world that he's connecting us to it with, and then inside the light world there's the dark world. But then, yeah, it hard cuts off there, which is not what a lot of people were thinking of. So you're saying that a lot of the horror in Deltarune came from this concept to you, the idea that you could continue descending layers. To me, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm smelling what you're stepping in. To me, that was never quite a source of horror for Deltarune for me. I think it could be utilized well in that direction, but I wasn't ever really expecting it in the same way you were.
No,
but
yeah.
I think this is another case of having expectations that weren't met, and less a case of like bad story decisions being made.
Yeah, I agree. It was just like an assumption about where the story would go. And yeah, like, to be clear, I don't think it's like a bad move for the story to do, like to not have that. It's just like a little less tantalizing to me. But also in a way, it's sort of less obvious. Like, I feel like, and I don't know why I have this impression, but I feel like the concept of like going deeper and deeper and deeper and like losing track of your sense of reality, I feel like that's kind of played out. And again, I can't...
Yeah, honestly, that whole idea very much kind of plays into the whole thing of like, Inception, that was it. Where like the whole idea was like, oh, you didn't know whether if you went too deep, you didn't know whether you were in a dream still, or you could forget if you were in a dream or you weren't. And like if you thought you were in a dream but you were but you actually weren't, then you killed you'd kill yourself to get out of the dream. But you weren't actually in a dream.
I can't reference any other story that's ever done that, but I feel like it's played out. I don't know.
Inception.
Literally what I just said.
There could be more. There could be millions more.
So, does this go to heaven or hell, in your opinion?
I think that it goes to,
hell.
Heaven? I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think this theory was cool. Let's send it to heaven.
Go to heaven. Yay! Another theory coming over the sea in purgatory.
Wow.
So this theory is that, so in chapter 2 of the Weird Route, spoilers for Deltarune. In chapter 2, Weird Route, you make Noel kill Burley with Snowgrave, and there was a theory that like Burley would be dead in the light world. And so in chapter 3, there would be a funeral for Burley, I guess. He would be fucking dead.
There was not, though.
But as it turns out, Burley is not dead.
He's just in a coma, yeah.
Or maybe if the idea of like a fallen down state is carrying over from Undertale's mythos, maybe he's fallen down.
You know, I've heard some buzz about like chapter 3 and 4 like pulling punches because Burley isn't fully dead and he's just in a coma, right? To me, I feel like there's not a huge difference in Burley being dead versus Burley being in a coma. I suppose if Burley was fully dead, there'd be more noise about it in town, right? But I think for all intents and purposes, Burley is dead to the narrative by being in a coma. It doesn't seem like there's something he's going to be coming out of. So in a way,
I mean, actually thinking about it, if in a future chapter, a dark world is created in the hospital, and you have Burley in a coma, would that just result in like Burley being, you come across, Burley still frozen in the ice crystal that he was frozen in chapter 2? Or would that result in something different? That'd be weird.
Don't think that this theory being technically disproven really changes much in my mind. And I didn't expect the Weird Route to be that drastically different. If there was a straight up a dead child in town, I think all of the light world dialogue would have to be completely different because of how big a deal that is. So I guess I don't think either way on this theory too strongly because it's not very different from what I was expecting. What about you?
That's fair. I pretty much agree. Like in terms of like plot, there's very little difference. I guess, like, to me, there's a big difference in the sense of how, like, Deltarune relates to Undertale. So, like, if Burley died from the Chapter 2 Weird Route, I feel like the discourse around the Weird Route would be, like, this is genocide route for Deltarune, right? This is the way to kill people.
True,
right?
True, and that's sort of, like, what it was
it's
for a long
not,
time.
though.
And so Chapter 3 or Chapter 4 revealing that, no, Burley's not actually dead. It's something else, something more confusing, something sort of more, like, slightly more uncomfortable, in my opinion. Like, there's something a little bit more understated about someone just being comatose and, like, Chris caring for them when you're not in their body.
True.
It feels more powerful to me than Birdley's just fucking dead. Like, Birdley being dead feels like, I don't know, it doesn't feel as mature, I guess.
I completely agree. And I think, the fact that the weird route we know now is much more focused around Noelle. I think Birdley being fully dead would also take attention away from
Noelle,
Noelle's being abused in the route.
Totally.
So dead Birdley goes to hell.
Yeah, I think it's sort of boring.
And that
It's funny. Not Birdley himself doesn't go to hell, but the concept of dead Birdley goes to hell.
actually will be happening in universe
Oh my God.
by the end of the game
Yay.
as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, the benefit of Birdley being
Yay.
dead is that Birdley becomes dead, which is sort of awesome.
Hark, another hero, what the fuck? Hark, another theory ascends. This one is, shorthand for it is
Firegrave.
Firegrave. Basically the idea that the weird route would continue to feature you using a new party member to kill another NPC as the game went on. So
Literally, that was my whole idea. Man, now I'm thinking about it. I really should have done research to see if, the other, people had come up with names for these, because now I'm thinking about it. I did not put a lot of effort into those ones, did I?
the popular theory was that you would use Toriel to kill Undyne in Chapter 3, and that pattern would continue. I think this was a very normie theory, right? Like, if you played Deltarune when it came out, and then, watched a couple theory videos in the months following, you probably would have believed this. But I think most of, the true Delta heads were pretty much dismissed this idea because of how much focus Noelle was getting, in the sweepstakes especially, being a glitch hunter and finding secrets in old video games and whatnot. So I think a lot of the discourse around Weird Theory really focused in on Noelle, using Noelle to break the game. And I think this would have been pretty stupid. I'm glad it didn't happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would have been stupid. And I like that your thumbnail kind of captures that. It's it's just Snowgrave, but it's orange. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of the theories before Chapter 3 and 4 came out, it was just what if the same thing happens again, but slightly different?
Yeah, so many theories that were disproven were just patterns.
Yes.
Which, okay, actually, now I'm thinking about it. When I put out my theory video, a while ago with my scattershot number of theories, of course, this was one of my theories that I thought I'd come up with independently. But I really wonder, did anybody else come up with the idea that Noelle would be the knight? Or at least, because I remember that was one of my more out there theories in that video, where Noelle developed a split personality, and the split personality was what was the knight, or something like that. I'm really curious to see if other people have come up with something similar to that.
Patterns that happened once or twice.
Yeah. I think there was maybe a tasteful, fun way to do screen burn.
I mean, alternatively, the human mind is also very good at, seeing patterns where there aren't ones. So, I mean, that's pretty much human nature right there.
As I prefer to call it. I think it's a better name than Firegrave.
See, Screenburn sounds cooler, which is why I like it less.
Right, that's fair. I feel like there was probably a tasteful way to do it. I don't know what that would look like. It would be kind of cool. Again, it's interactions between Chris and Toriel.
Yeah. Some of the ways proposed that you would be manipulating Toriel in this route were admittedly pretty interesting because, you manipulate Noelle in Chapter 2 by just taking advantage of her being non-confrontational and unable to say no to you, right? But Toriel's not the same person as Noelle, so
no, not
some
in the
of the
slightest.
proposed ways of manipulating Toriel would be Chris deliberately putting themselves in harm's way to get Toriel to do stuff. I think that concept's pretty cool. I think there are ways you could make it interesting, finding ways to manipulate different characters based on different scenarios.
Yeah, there's ways to make it cool, but I do prefer what we got. What we got, especially in Chapter 4, is just so much. I mean, it's so much weirder.
Much weirder, more visceral.
It's so fucking good. So I much prefer what we got.
We're in agreement here.
Yeah.
Shall we send Firegrave to its Firegrave?
Oh, just based on that, yeah, definitely. Kill it.
All right.
Kill it.
Bye.
It's already dead.
Next up on the list is Naked Ralsei, the theory that Ralsei would continue to lose an item of clothing chapter by chapter.
Yay!
Because at the end of Chapter 1, well, rather, in the beginning of Chapter 1, he takes his robe off, and then for the ending of Chapter 1 and the majority of Chapter 2, he takes his hat off, and then in the teasers we got for Chapter 3, during the rock band segment, he takes his shirt off.
Wait, so this isn't disproven?
Sadly, though...
Yeah,
well, he
4.
didn't lose any clothing in Chapter 4.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Not that we saw.
So this is devastating.
Naked Rousey. And just, the fact, naked mole rat, I mean, this picture is just so sad. Why, this poor creature. Why was such a creature made?
I think I bet most of my life savings on this one being true. I'm now deeply impoverished and also emotionally destroyed. What say you?
Yeah, I feel sort of similar. Is this is this the rat from Kim Possible? Is this a reference to the rat from Kim Possible?
It's a naked mole rat.
Was he a
That's
naked
real
mole rat
thing.
in Kim?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I thought that was just a Kim Possible invention.
I almost used the naked mole rat from Kim Possible as this icon, but I don't know.
His name is Rufus. Give him some respect.
I wanted it to be gross.
Yeah. What is there to say about Naked Rousey? I feel like it's just perfect. It's not true, and it was never going to be true, but it's like iconic and beautiful.
Heaven for naked Rousey.
I salute thee. Ooh, another theory. This one is the theory that Chris hates Rousey, and that Chris just wants to kill Rousey and fucking hates him so much. And
before we started this segment, I already told him how funny I think this thumbnail is, but I'm still laughing at it.
It's pretty good. But yeah, so this is that
Yeah,
theory.
it's pretty good.
And this was disproven by the fact that in chapter 4, Chris kneels down and like sort of vaguely touches Rousey in a scene where Rousey is crying. So therefore, Chris doesn't hate Rousey.
I'm glad this theory is dead, personally.
I mean, like, I can totally understand, Chris being, uncomfortable around Rousey, given that, Rousey very much looks like a younger version of his own brother. And, some of the interactions that we, the player, can, force Chris to do with Rousey could be, a little disturbing given that light. But yeah, it's more, I can very much see it's not so much hate as just sort of weirded out, I would imagine.
Why?
Because I don't think there was a lot of reason for Chris to hate Rousey. I think the main proof was the tea, and you would have had no reason to suspect that otherwise.
Honestly, if Chris did hate Rousey, I would have imagined, the tea actually hurting Chris in some way. Like you force Chris to drink it, and they lose health because they dislike Rousey so much.
Yes.
Did you also hear that even though the rotten tea change was made, that like after that cutscene in chapter 4, the tea value actually does go up, even though that mechanic's not available anymore?
Wait, what? What do you mean the T value, like the HP?
Yeah, like even
Yeah,
though
I
it was
remember hearing
removed
about
because
that.
all the tea just became rotten tea. Probably because Toby just didn't want people using numbers to determine his instead of his character writing to determine how they feel. But the T HP does go up for Rousey T after that chapter 4 cutscene you're talking about is triggered.
Wow. Wait, is it like the rotten T item, or like if you hack the Rousey T item in?
If you hack the Rousey T item in.
Interesting.
But even though T theory is pretty objectively true, I think it's much more productive for the fan base to not base all of our opinions on the characters' relationships off of numbers and instead just pay attention to the writing. And
I mean, you say that, but at the same time, when you have shortcuts like that in such a convoluted game such as Deltarune, I mean, it's like a shortcut is a shortcut.
I think seeing Chris grow to like Rousey more is also very, very heartwarming.
It 100% is.
And even if Chris didn't like Rousey that much at first, I think them growing to like him because they understand his plight better and relate to him, I think is really interesting for both their characters. Because, I mean, struggling with identity is such like a big idea in this game already. I think because Chris struggles so much with their identity, learning more about Rousey and understanding that he's facing the same problems as them, I think it's like a very cogent way for Chris to start getting closer to him, I guess, if that makes sense.
No, I completely agree, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like Chris sees themselves in Rousey in a big way.
And also, like, I think they recognize
and the whole idea that Rousey is Chris's, like, fursona, I mean, that's funny.
Often.
This theory was never that compelling to me. I'm happy to put it into hell. I think that what we got is much more compelling. It's much more nuanced, and it's much more beautiful.
Send it to hell.
Bye, bitch.
And here it comes, the next theory. It's Ralsei is either the horned headband or the missing green crayon theory. Not the same theory, but like similar enough that I want to categorize them together, because the basis behind this theory is that these were both objects from Chris's house, from the Dreamer household. But we know now that it's pretty much impossible for Ralsei to be either of these objects, because if they were, then the Dreamer household Dark World would be familiar with Ralsei.
Yeah.
And no one explicitly says that they are. And, Ram makes a lot of comment about having known other Darkners like Queen and King, and I think possibly Jevil, because he says chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that not a single person references Ralsei or says
in the
hello
slightest
to him or knows who he is, or at least doesn't make any comment about it, I think that super supports the fact that whatever Ralsei is, even if he isn't...
And it's the whole thing that even Ralsei himself doesn't say anything on top of that, so...
Object, which I don't really buy, he could not have been something that was at the Dreamer household, I think. What say you?
Yes, no, I agree. I think it's obvious. Particularly with the horned headband. Like, obviously, Chris wore that a lot as a kid, and so you'd imagine that anyone in this Dark World would sort of recognize that horned headband. The green crayon, there's like less of a compelling argument for that one, because it's just a fucking crayon. Who cares? Like, who recognizes a crayon?
Did you see the flavor text in Chris's room?
That all the crayons are in Chris's room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
Is there accompanying flavor text for the dresser that there's no green crayons there?
It's been like that since chapter 1, yeah.
Oh, no, I see what you mean now. I don't know how I feel about that.
My interpretation of that is that because Ralsei has now been to Chris's house in the Dark World, he was like, oh shit, they don't have a green crayon. I know what to give them in their room. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ralsei's very thoughtful.
Here's another facet to
I
this
can
theory
definitely
being
see it.
disproven. What do you think of the idea that Aram, or whatever you want to call the Nightmare boss, is the horned headband?
I don't agree. I think that the Nightmare is obviously just the Shadow Mantle.
Really? But
Yeah.
he says he's holding the Shadow Mantle, and then he flies away without it.
Yes. Good point. No, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind.
There's also
that. Yeah.
Do you remember the door in...
I mean, I could see it. I mean, the horned headband, I mean, it like while Chris wore it, to kind of pretend that they were going to grow horns like the rest of their family. At the same time, in human, connotations, red horns, or pink horns, I guess in this case, very much, has connotations of the devil and evil, and, the whole thing that the E-Ram boss talks about, Chris enjoying, the possibility of hurting people and stuff like that. Yeah, I could see it.
in the S-Rank minigame that looks like the horned headband as well.
That's a
Like
good
the
point.
door has like a red border to it with the horns on it.
I never considered that.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
the door that leads to the
I
shelter,
could also
and
say
Aram
it.
is in the shelter.
And that would explain why Aram is so familiar with Chris.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And Ralsei is not familiar with Chris.
Very true.
In
What
the
I don't
sligest,
like
yeah.
is
Into it.
why are we calling it Aram? Just call it Nightmare. It's like Link's Awakening where every boss is a nightmare. So just call it Nightmare.
I think Aram's cooler.
It's true. Honestly.
I think you just don't like cool and epic
I
things.
hate cool epic things. Anyway, kill this theory, I guess. I don't even care. Like, I feel like there's much more interesting questions about Ralsei than, like, are they a crayon? That's just really boring. Like, if Ralsei was a crayon, God, would I not care about that. If Ralsei
the
was
slightest,
the
yeah.
headband, also, like, I kind of wouldn't give a shit. Like, it wouldn't do anything for me. So, I say cast it to
I think
the
it
fucking
could
depths
have
of
been
hell.
cool if he was the horned headband. I just don't believe in it.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
I agree. Let's
Like-
send it to hell then.
Yeah, kill it. Fucking kill it.
Oh, sorry. If you want to keep going, then let's keep
I have
going.
nothing to fucking say to you.
Next up is evil Ralsei.
Evil.
The theory that because there are things about Ralsei we don't understand, he's
He's
likely
evil, yeah. God, this is all the way back to like chapter 1 that, well, I know there are things, we obviously don't know about Ralsei, and obviously Ralsei is hiding stuff from, us, Chris, Susie, that was basically one of the major things, chapter 4 was all about that. I don't see him being evil, like, not in the slightest. If there is, like, a last-second heel turn or something, I would be very disappointed in Toby.
As we know, things that we don't understand, things that are the other,
Are
evil.
evil.
Like, they're fucked up.
Exactly. That's why I hate science and change.
Yes.
I suppose this theory hasn't been definitively disproven, but I think we understand so much more about Ralsei's character and why he does what he does now that I think this theory is not worth thinking about anymore.
Yes, I agree.
And I'm glad it's dead.
I am also pretty glad.
I think this conversation was completely unproductive. I'm glad that I never have to think about it again.
I agree. Yeah, it's one of those Deltarune theories that always felt kind of reductive. I feel like it doesn't really honor Ralsei's character to say that he's just evil. Like, it just reduces him down to one thing. When I feel like it was
Just,
always
like,
pretty
one
obvious
note,
that Ralsei
yeah.
was a complicated figure. And, like, even though this theory is, I think, pretty much disproven, Ralsei could still heel turn at some point. Like, Ralsei could still be hiding something and lying about it. I could still see that happening. There's still room for that. But it wouldn't be like Ralsei is fucked
I could
up.
still see a heel turn. Yes, no, he would. I think that he would have to have a strong motivation to make a heel turn. I could still see it happening, but it wouldn't be just because he's evil.
Yeah.
Because I think it's very clear that he cares very much about Chris and Susie.
Oh, 100%. I hear you on that one, sister. And let's send this one down to the bowels of hell itself.
Send it to the bowels, brother.
Yes, this video is awesome. Cammy, this video may be awesome, but I'm sort of bored. I wish that we were talking about something else, something that titillated me a little bit more, something that was a little bit more stimulating.
Well, that's fucking stupid.
Oh.
Whoa, where are we?
Oh, shit!
Oh,
fuck.
Holy
no.
shit, we came back to life.
Oh, I love being alive. Wow.
Wow,
No. Not the pairings tier list. No.
I just remembered we were doing a ship tier list before we died. How interesting
Wow.
that there are more ships here on the tier
There's
list
more
now.
ships. It feels good to be here because it means that I can talk about gay people. And that's sort of one of my favorite things to do in the world.
I fucking love gay people. That's why I like you. 1, 2, 3, Cargor.
Ah, it feels so good to be looking at
Wow.
people.
What the fuck were you thinking with this thumbnail, man? What's wrong with you?
S tier. Yay.
No, it's... Hold on. Why do you think it's S tier?
Because it's really good. It's like, imagine 4
No,
Asgores and 1 Kara. 4 Asgores on a conveyor
How-
belt eating food. Imagine.
How on earth do you think this is better than Rude's Gore?
Because it's way better. I don't like gay men anymore. I'm all into big dudes and evil women.
Evil Snarlinger arc?
I'm straight. So yeah, it feels good to be heterosexual. And yeah, so I just like this shit because I enjoy the idea of this fucking dumbass who just eats food, and Carol's like, "You're a fucking idiot, kill yourself." And he's like, "Oh, Carol's really nice when you get to know her." I just really enjoy.
You would love, like, if you ever came to America, you could stay with me and my wife, and we act exactly like this.
That's haunting. Are there 4 of you?
God, I'm remembering the pain. It was the whole thing when I did my reaction to the tier list video. It's like the whole problem was I was trying to be serious about it, and they're just memeing and being so unserious. Like, how long does this? How?
And are you eating food? Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
Aw.
The way we do it is like one of us comes and records content while the other 3 pig out.
That's awesome. Wait, so there's 4 cammies, just like there's like a hive mind of
Yeah.
Snarlingers. Wow, I'm learning something.
I can
about
call
you.
them over here if you want.
Hey, come on over, buddies.
Hi. They don't like to talk all at once.
Okay.
They're very polite.
Cool. That's awesome. And I like that they all.
I don't.
I like that they all have the same kind of deal. Like they're all just the same. Like
They're
there's
all
no...
me, of course.
Right. There's no subtle differences between them. They're just the same guy.
Well, there are subtle differences between them. They're just visual. One's like tall, and one's fat, and one's short.
That's awesome. We can see them on screen right now.
There they are.
That's awesome.
I need you to get Cargor the fuck out of S tier, man.
Fine.
It does not belong
I'll
up
put
there.
it like top of A tier, I guess. Like if it must be done.
I do think the idea that they're hooking up while working on the Death Mystery is like pretty funny. But I don't think Carol deserves to be shipped with anyone seriously. I think Carol...
And on top of that, like, Asgore is so intent on getting back with Toriel. I do not see him being a homewrecker in his own right with, you know, Carol, who is very much a married woman.
Carol should probably, like, die.
Wow, you really think so?
She's, like, abusive. She's an abusive mother. Get her out of here.
She's a queen.
No, Queen's a queen. Carol's a baroness.
A baroness. Look, there's going to be a point in Deltarune where everyone loves Carol again. Because there's going to be a point where Carol's like, here's my dark backstory, and I'm actually a good person. That's going to happen. Mark my fucking words.
That actually probably will happen.
It probably will happen. Or maybe not. I don't know. But look, Carol fucked. Fucks Asgore. Asgore loves to get fucked by Carol. And they're just kind of like living the life.
No way.
I think that Carol
No
was
way.
in the passenger seat when Asgore...
When Asgore hit death.
Yeah, she was in the passenger seat.
Look, my heart says like D or C tier for Cargor. If you really, really like it, I could put it in B, but I won't be happy about it.
B, okay.
I would rather talk about Spadesgore than I would about Cargor.
You don't like talking about Spadesgore? Oh.
I do more than Cargor, that's what I'm saying.
Well, okay, so it's above Spadesgore. Wait, no, so it's below Spadesgore. I'm not.
Yes.
I'm kind of just staring at this image. I'm not really listening to you. I just like it so much.
What was your... Can you describe the thought process behind this image to me?
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I need to make thumbnails for this video, and then I was like, okay, what is Cargor? And then I imagined Asgore on conveyor belt. And then it all fell into place from there.
All right.
It's like below Spadesgore. Spadesgore is very iconic.
Fine.
Cargor also very
Fine.
iconic. Cargor is beloved by the community, so I think to honor that love, B tier.
Okay.
Cool.
Fine.
I'm glad that I can just like talk you into submission. Like I can just kind of keep saying things, and then eventually you believe me.
3, 2, 1.
Ralph Suzy. Cammy, why do you love this? What's your obsession with Ralph Suzy?
What do you mean? Why are you throwing me under the bus?
You made the thumbnail.
I like Ralph Suzy.
Why do you like it?
Because it's... I don't know. I feel like my argument is going to default to my argument for so many in the original video, in that it's just cute and wholesome. And
Yeah, exactly. It's cute and wholesome. You literally don't need any more, explanation of it. Like, why are you trying to add on details that, you don't need?
I like imagining it.
You're fucking pathetic.
Like they just have like such a genuine connection. I mean, the fucking scene at the end of chapter 4 where Susie's just seen something devastating and her instinct is just to comfort Ralsei about it. It's like how fucking cute is that?
Fair. That is fucking adorable.
What are your opinions on Ralph Suzy?
Yeah, look, I see your point. That is fucking cute. I see it more as like she's just a great fucking friend. She's like a great person kind of deal.
She is.
But
she is. You're right about that.
But if you can conceptualize love between a man and a woman, then it sort of makes sense. Like, it sort of does make sense. If I can put myself into those shoes, then...
What? If you can conceptualize? What? What are you talking about?
I kind of like it. And...
Hold on. Have you swapped the places of Crowell and Chriselle on here?
No, I haven't made any modifications to the tier list at all.
Are you sure? I feel like we we made a point to put regular Chriselle above Crowell.
Possibly. Yeah, we can swap
Did we
those.
not?
Yeah, whatever. I don't care.
I mean, I could just go check to make sure, but I feel like that's what
don't
we
check
did.
the original tier list because I haven't made any modifications at all.
Okay. Well, then switch them back.
What? Oh, right. Yeah, because I haven't made any modifications to the tier list.
You fucking put Icy Pants in S tier. Get that shit out of here!
What do you mean? We agreed.
Okay, well, it's been basically confirmed at this point, but Snarlinger has no professional, integrity at all.
Get it out of
We
here!
agreed that it was above...
No, we didn't!
We agreed that it was above Suzelle. We agreed that it was above Suzelle. So I don't know what the
No,
fuck
we
is wrong with you.
fucking did,
Why are you so
you
obsessed with this
liar.
ship, dude? Why are you so obsessed with this ship? You
Fucking scoundrel.
All you want to do is talk about icy
You're a charlatan.
and burger pants. I don't understand you. Why do you love
You
it so
need-
much?
This collaboration is done
No,
unless you
no,
move it
no.
to fucked up tier right now.
Okay. I'm sorry, Cammy.
I hold the keys to your life in my 30,000 subscriber hands, okay, pal?
I need attention. I need to be relevant again.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're the one that hasn't put out any videos in a year, so it's literally your fault.
Lower. There we go. All right, let's get back to it.
Ralph Susie. So this is not very interesting to me, but I'm sort of scared of you now. So wherever you want to put it.
A or B tier for me. It's not as good as Chris and Susie or Noelle and Susie, but I think it's very cute.
Okay. Anything. I'll do anything. Did that make any? 3, 2, 1. Ramtana!
So I've put this ship on here out of obligation because apparently the ship exists. And, you know, I just like looking at Ram. I think he's a cute little guy. I like his dog ears. So I wanted to, like, you know, it's sort of a visual stim for me to just have him here on the screen.
What's going on?
What the fuck is Ramtana?
But what's going on in this image?
That's like a boyfriend giving his other boyfriend a head massage.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
wow. That's sort of hard for me.
You know, Spamton's... I just called him Spamton. Tenna's like planking on the ground so Ram can rub his temples.
I see. I thought it was something else, but yeah, that's fine.
What?
What?
What'd you think it was?
Oh, I thought that Tenna
What'd you
was.
think it
I
was?
thought Tenna was doing up Ram's shoelaces.
Oh, dude, like the end of Marriage Story. That's beautiful.
Marriage Story? What?
Did you watch Marriage Story?
I know he punches a wall. That's all I know. But
I've never heard of that before at all.
And then she ties his shoes. That's basically the movie.
it's a very short film. Yeah, look, Ram Tenna is like truly, truly haunting. I think pairing Ram with anyone, like seeing something attractive in Ram, is deeply uncomfortable. But I sort of enjoy it.
What? Look at his face. Look at
Yeah,
the faces
look
he's
at his-
making. He's...
Look at his fucking face.
You see that face and you don't feel any amount of attraction?
I feel like
No.
he's fucking evil. I feel like I get Gaster vibes from his face, and I don't like
What?
looking at him. I don't like his interactions with Chris. It's just so uncomfortable and strange.
That's insane. What do you mean? He's a fucking sweetie pie.
A sweetie pie. Ram.
Yes.
Ram is fucked up. People are sad about Ram. They're like, no one cares about Ram. Ram is obviously like a...
I'm sad about Ram.
Ram is obviously like a fucked up, like enabler. Like, there's something deeply unsettling about Ram, and I...
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Ram's entire thing is just like trying to make Chris happy.
Yeah, but I think that Ram knows...
The fucking Pippins that pops up at the end and says no one will shed a tear for him is like, he's always condescending to us, talking about what would be best for Chris. Like, how do you think Ram's an enabler?
Because he's an...
What are you talking
because
about? Because he's a bartender?
Because the kind of fucking... Sorry.
Excuse me?
Something came over me. The fun that Ram is giving Chris is not fun. Like, it's like a deep, unsettling, perverse kind of fun. And Ram fucking knows that. Like, Ram knows that.
Do you think Ram knows that?
Obviously, he fucking knows that.
In my mind, Ram is just saying, Chris, I know you don't like this game. You can play the game you want to play over here, and I'll watch out to make sure Tenna doesn't see and get mad.
Yeah, but he knows that it's gonna fuck Chris
I
up.
truly don't think it's any more complicated than that for Ram.
Okay,
I mean, I very much... I'm kind of agreeing with both of them here. I don't see this at all, purely because I don't think... I mean, the only time Ram and Tenna are on the screen together is in that one part at the beginning of chapter 3 where, but just after you're leaving, like, the couch world, but before you've hit, like, the TV studio. So, like, I don't think they even interact, like, at all. And that is it for now, unfortunately. This, of course, is a much longer reaction, so I much prefer to split them up into pieces. So if the next part is up, link to it should be appearing somewhere on the screen, you know, here. I hope you guys liked. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you guys in the next part, if it's out yet. Goodbye.